Growing superb grains in great abundance is the natural vocation of Canada's prairie farmers. In today's world, we don't have much trouble finding markets, and the market is expanding. In the crop year, which ended July the 31st, 1971, Canada exported nearly 410 million bushels of wheat and 164 million bushels of barley. But even those very impressive sales, organized by the Canadian Wheat Board, still left hundreds of millions of bushels unsold in storage, in country elevators and port terminals operated by prairie grain companies, in Canadian government grain terminals, or in the bursting farm granaries and on the ground, as we see at this Manitoba farm. On farms alone, nearly 412 million bushels of wheat and over 61 million bushels of barley were left in storage as of July the 31st, 1971. The reason for these huge leftover stockpiles of vital foodstuffs was not necessarily that they were surplus to world demand. On the contrary, world demand for Canadian grains is not only high, but potentially higher every crop year. The sales opportunities for Canadian grains are there, but the grain is here. The question is this: can we deliver it? If we can't, the Canadian economy overall, and the farmer in particular, will suffer. Right now, this farmer is an efficient producer with a valuable product for sale in abundance. His natural economic development is limited only by the system. This film is about an experiment designed to improve that system. The experiment was inspired by a series of related developments. The belief had been recently expressed that if Canada's grain handling and transportation system could be substantially speeded up, significant new sales opportunities might become available. And the Palliser Wheat Growers Association had for some time been strongly advocating that the system could be speeded up if the new unit train concept and bulk handling techniques now available to other Canadian commodities, such as coal and potash, were adapted to the advantage of the grain industry. Picking up on these ideas, Federal Grain Limited of Winnipeg realized that it had a natural role to perform in trying them out. Federal is one of Canada's largest grain companies and handles about 35% of the grain shipped out of Vancouver, as well as 20% of that moved through the lakehead. Federal Grain's subsidiary in Vancouver, Neptune Terminals Limited, operates the largest and most comprehensive bulk handling facility in North America. Integrated with the unit train concept, Neptune Terminals receives, stores, and transships millions of tons of export coal, potash, fertilizers, and other bulk commodities to all parts of the world. Here was an ideal combination of interest and ideas, and the experiment was soon underway with the full cooperation of the Canadian Grains Commission, Canadian Wheat Board, and the Canadian National Railway. It began at the Canadian Government Grain Terminal in Saskatoon at 7 a.m. on the brisk morning of December the 3rd, 1971. Canadian National Railways laid on a unit train of 90 tank cars, all washed and scrubbed clean for the test, each car capable of carrying 3,100 bushels of grain. The unit train is truly the most significant development of railway transportation in the 20th century. On a specially designed site, a 90-car train can be moved as one complete unit through loading and unloading operations in about 5 hours. At Neptune Terminals, that would include the simultaneous loading of the ship. The experimental concept here was to send a single-grade shipment of 270,000 bushels of wheat from the inland terminal at Saskatoon directly into the hold of a vessel at Neptune terminals in Vancouver. After weighing, the samples of the grain are taken for grading checks by government inspectors. Load of each separate compartment in the car is graded. Everyone involved in the experiment, especially the main partners, were aware of the fact that they were participating in an historical, even a revolutionary event in Canada's grain export history. It was, in fact, quite a day there in Saskatoon. When the cars are loaded, they are sealed by government grain inspectors, top and bottom, and the train is on its way by late afternoon the same day.
federal grain train.
With a federal grain train.
Bringing music in the air.
Bringing music in the air.
Oh, everybody has a pass.
Everybody has a pass.
Come and climb on anywhere.
Come on, climb on anywhere.
And when you hear the whistle blow, come and gather all around.
Come and gather all around.
For the federal grain train has just rolled into your town. We'll have a hoedown, showdown. Come on and get your hair down.
You got trouble?
On the double.
We can help you move.
Oh, we're the federal grain train.
With a federal grain train.
Bringing music in the air.
Bringing music in the air.
Oh, everybody has a pass.
Everybody has a pass.
Come and climb on anywhere.
Come on, climb on anywhere.
And when you hear the whistle blow, come and gather all around.
Come and gather all around.
For the federal grain train has just rolled into your town. For the federal grain train has just rolled into your town.
From the prairies and through the Rockies, she was in the Fraser Canyon by 9 o'clock in the morning of Sunday, December the 5th, on a clear run to her destination at Neptune Terminal on the north shore of Vancouver Harbor. The conventional grain shipment would now be headed for a whole new cycle of unloading procedures. And it's these procedures that all Canadian ports, east and west, that can limit Canada's grain marketing organization in trying to respond to the true demand for Canadian grain. For this unit train, however, these procedures would be very simple. It was dawn when she arrived in the unloading shed at Neptune Terminal, and the system and the men were ready for her. This was, of course, only an experiment, and the train was separated on this occasion into sections. Normally, it would remain as one unit throughout the unloading operation. When the seals were broken and the car positioned over the hoppers in the dumper shed, the grain begins its final journey by conveyor belt to the ship. Stuart Searle, Jr., president of Neptune, and Forrest Hetland, a member of the Canadian Grains Commission, were on location for the final phase of the experiment. While the grain moves swiftly with the belt, An inspector makes periodic sampling checks. The grain is carried from the unloading shed to the top of the surge bin, and then onto the ship. The purpose of the surge bin is to maintain a steady flow of material to the loading arm. This is a quadrant loader, and it is able to swing from hatch to hatch, making it unnecessary for the ship itself to be moved once it is berthed. Speed is the key to the economics of the new bulk handling technique, and with an almost continuous and simultaneous flow of grain, both carriers are ready to depart at the same time. The economic success of these bulk handling techniques for commodities such as coal and potash is a matter of record. The possibilities for applying it to Canada's grain shipments are exciting for an export industry that clearly needs some kind of surge capacity to allow us to seek greater markets that are now beyond the capacity of Canada's current grain handling systems. We were proud to participate in this experiment for progress.
Oh, we're the federal grain train,
We're the federal grain train,
bringing music in the air.